Hey there, I'm Kelly Sienkowski with Potomac Local News, and today we're shining the spotlight on our local school board election. With me today is Josh Regan. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Good, I'm glad to have you on. Josh, can you go ahead and tell us a little bit about you?
Yeah, sure. I'm Coach Josh Regan. I am entering my 19th year as a public school teacher in just a couple of weeks. 11 of those years were spent in Stafford County. I have four children, two that graduated from Stafford County Public Schools. I have another one that is entering the seventh grade. And I am also a varsity basketball head coach in Fairfax County. And I have two master's degrees in education, one in special education and one in educational leadership. And we still live in Stafford. We love Stafford, excuse me, and we're not going anywhere. I got into this race because I really want to put the focus on what's best for the children in Stafford County, because I've dedicated my whole life to education.
Oh, thank you, Josh. So for our viewers, what we are doing is we have invited all of our local candidates to participate in this interview. Everybody's answers will be condensed into an article, and you'll be able to review all of the videos online. So Josh, we're going to go ahead and jump into our questions, okay?
Okay.
All right, so with Stafford's rapid growth and increasing school enrollment, what is what do you think are the biggest challenges ahead, and how should the school board plan to ensure that the schools can handle the demand?
So the growth in Stafford County has been tremendous over the last 15 years. Stafford County's population has increased 25.8% since 2010, and it's going to continue to grow. So it's inevitable that we're going to get bigger, we're going to have more students, and we're going to need more schools. So what the school board needs to do is make smart, data-driven redistricting decisions to minimize the impact on our students. Let's move the fewest amount of students out of the school that they're used to as possible. And that's going to make things seamless, hopefully, for the students. And it's also going to tamp down a lot of anxiety and concern in the community. I think one thing that's really important when we're looking at redistricting or opening new schools is to get input from the staff in the buildings that would be affected because they know their students. And I think that we would be remiss if we didn't listen to what they had to say and take their opinions into account.
Thank you, Josh. So, other than funding, what do you think the school board's top priorities should be in the next few years?
So the top priorities that I think the school board should have, which coincidentally are my three top priorities as a candidate for the school board, I think everything that we do in Stafford County should be aimed at our students being given the best chance to be successful after they're done with high school in whatever path they choose, whether that's college, trade school, military, going right into the workforce. We need to prepare those students. So every decision we make should be geared towards that goal. So for me, the top priority is retention and attracting top teachers. And I speak from experience. I left Stafford County because I had to make more money. I have four children, and as much as I love teaching at the school that I taught at, and I loved it, I had to go. And it was one of the hardest decisions I've ever had to make. I don't want other teachers to be in that situation. So I think we need to improve compensation for teachers, for one, but it's more than just the money. We need to give teachers a real voice in decisions in the schools. Teachers are the content experts. So we need their input in curriculum as the school board is designing curriculum. And we need their input in what goes on in their classrooms, what goes on in their buildings. So I think their ideas really need to be heard. And if we can do that, I think we'll not only be able to retain the teachers that we have, but we'll be able to attract teachers from other counties or attract teachers that left Stafford County and bring them back. I want Stafford County to be a destination for teachers, not a stepping stone for a career.
Thank you,
My
Josh.
second, oh yeah, you're welcome. My second priority is getting the resources we need to improve student performance. We need to invest heavily into early literacy. We need to especially invest into training for data-driven instruction. If we can use data and leverage data in a positive way, teachers can identify areas of weakness for every single student and implement a learning plan that's tailored to each student's strengths and needs. And as a classroom teacher, that's something that I do every day. And I do it on my own. It's not a policy in the county where I teach, but it's so effective in filling the gaps that students have. And because we have so many different styles of learners, we need to be able to differentiate our instruction. We need to be able to teach effectively to students that are audio learners, just as we need to be able to teach effectively to students that are visual learners or kinesthetic hands-on learners. But teachers need to be trained for that. And so we need the resources to do that. And then my third priority is maintaining and upgrading security in schools, and not just physical security, but we definitely need to look at outdated equipment and things like that to ensure the physical safety of our students. But we also need to provide resources for mental and emotional health and well-being. So I've talked with the principals at the schools in my district, and the middle and the high schools all had over a 20% chronic absenteeism rate last year. And that's 1 out of every 5 students missing significant instructional time. And a lot of that is anxiety and depression based. And coming out of COVID, there were so many fears and just not sure of where we are as a student, then reintegrating back into the public school after a year and a half, 2 years on a home-based virtual learning. There's so much anxiety with going to school right now. I think we need to invest money into resources to make schools a comfortable environment, a safe environment, a place where our kids feel like they belong and want to go. And I think if we can get kids to want to go, kids are going to go. And then the other part of that is our families and parents, they have to be confident that their children are safe when they're in our schools, physically, emotionally, mentally. So I think we need to invest a lot of attention into making those buildings a more comfortable learning environment.
Good, Josh. Okay, our next question. The school board and the board of supervisors often share some responsibilities when it comes to funding and long-term planning. How would you describe the ideal working relationship between the school board, the board of supervisors, and other county departments?
I think that it's imperative that the school board and the board of supervisors in particular are able to work together. The school board submits a budget request. The board of supervisors determines how much of that request is going to be fulfilled. And if there is an inability for the two boards to communicate effectively and to work together in the best interest of our students are the ones that lose out. One of the things that I've sort of focused my teaching career around is building relationships with my students, with their families, and again, making a comfortable environment in my classroom, a place where the children can feel free to be themselves. And I think that's so effective because if you can build a relationship, even if people disagree with you, they're going to be willing to listen to you. I think that a little bit of that is lacking right now between the two boards. And I plan to leverage my ability to form relationships and work together to try and overcome those obstacles. Because at the end of the day, everything that I do on this board is going to be for the students.
Thank you. So if you are elected, how would you approach the budget priorities? Are there areas of school spending where you think we need more investment? And where, if anywhere, would you look to try and cut or reduce the cost?
So we definitely need more investment in some of the things that I've already mentioned in school security and resources for mental and emotional health. I think that we need to be smart about how we allocate our funds. I think we need to implement professional development in data-driven instruction. at the middle and high school levels, invest some money into the early literacy program at the elementary levels. And I think we need to be really, really careful in making sure there's enough money to help the students that do have the learning gaps. And I think those are the students that tend to fall through the cracks some. When you have special education students with IEPs, they have accommodations and they have things put in place to help them achieve at the same level as the rest of the non-disabled population. But I would venture to guess in every school there are students that have some learning struggles that are not identified as special education. And teachers in the classroom, they need to be able to identify that and work with those students, whether they do or don't have an IEP. So I think we need to make sure that we're getting the full budget that we request from the Board of Supervisors. But I also think that we need to be very transparent in where we need extra money and why.
Good, Josh. So we have a little bit of extra time, so I wanted to ask, do you think, is there anything else you think makes you the right person to represent your district to the school board? Or anything else you want the voters to know about you?
Yeah, I think that my background as a public school teacher and the fact that I am teaching in the 2025-26 school year gives me a unique perspective as to what is happening in schools today and what students need to be successful today. As a parent and seeing two of my students go through and graduate from Stafford County Public Schools, I saw things that I didn't particularly agree with or like. And so I'm able to understand and facilitate improvements for what our students need today in 2025. Because learning today is very different than it was even in 2019 before COVID. And it's certainly different than it was in 2010. And it evolves and it changes every year. And so I think having someone in the classroom living these changes and then being able to use that knowledge and information to leverage changes for Stafford County is only a positive. My master's degree in educational leadership has given me some insight from a school administrator view from sort of the top down as to what is happening in schools and what things can change for the better for our students. And then my experience as a head coach has taught me how to put a team together, how to work in a team, how to manage personalities. And so I think the combination of my experiences really makes me the right person to represent the Aquia District. And because I taught in the Aquia District, I have existing relationships with a lot of former students and families and people that know me. And I look forward to hearing from them about their experiences when they were in school or their students were in school, so we can compare that to what's happening today and see what changes have been made and what other changes could be made. So everything that I do or every vote I make is going to be what I think is in the best interest of our students, because I think that's what the role of a school board member should be.
I appreciate that. And Josh, I do want to ask, can you share if you're running with a political affiliation for this race? Are you Democratic, Republican, or Independent?
No, all the school board races in Virginia by law are nonpartisan races, so I'm running as an independent in this race.
All right. Well, Josh, I want to thank you for taking the time to talk to me today. And our viewers, make sure you continue to follow along. We will have more interviews with more of our candidates in your local races. So follow along on Potomac Local. And Josh, thank you for putting the spotlight on your race to school board this year.
Yes, thank you so much for having me, Kelly.
Absolutely.